Introducing Passport Bros, your ultimate travel companion. Download the app for free and embark on a journey where your adventures not only become unforgettable memories, but also opportunities to earn. With Passport Bros, your travel content is more than just photos and videos. It's your ticket to a fully monetizable network of like-minded adventurers. Imagine making money from your travel stories. Post videos, share your experiences, and let the world be a part of your journey. But that's not all. Connect with travelers from around the globe, join co-ed groups, and make lasting friendships, perhaps even with foreign women who share your passion for exploration. And here's the best part. Store your earnings securely in your Passport Bros wallet. No hassle, no worries. Just seamless transactions wherever your travels take you. Looking for the best local experiences? Passport Bros has got you covered. Get personalized recommendations for tour guides, rentals, and the hottest clubs in town. Did we mention the app is absolutely free to download? That's right. Your passport to a world of adventure is just a click away. And here's the cherry on top. With Passport Bros, you can make money while exploring new places. Turn your passion for travel into a source of income, right from your mobile device. So what are you waiting for? Download Passport Bros now, share your journey, connect with fellow explorers, and let the adventure begin.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, we are live. Welcome, family, to another show. It is your man BMT in the building, man, and we got a lot of news for you guys today. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm gonna start doing these live broadcasts a little earlier. I know a lot of you guys are on the East Coast, some of you guys are on the West Coast, some of you guys are even in Thailand, but I am gonna start streaming a little earlier. Before we get the show started, because we got a lot to talk about today, man. I guess you consider this to be Passport Bro news to a certain degree, but we definitely have a lot to talk about. The discussion today is, are Passport Bros, or Passport Pookies rather, ruining the image of Passport Bros, all right, overseas. So we're going to talk about the day. Welcome everybody in the room. Shout out to my man Kevin. He's also in the room. Shout out to you, man. We'll get right to the story in a moment, family. Got my man Bean U71 in the building. What's good? What's good? We in here kind of heavy already, man. He says, what up, BMT? We got 40s in the room. Guys, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. And if I'm coming through loud and clear, the stream isn't janky, do me a favor and hit the 1 button. All right. If I'm coming through a little janky, hit the 2, and I'll switch over some things. All right. Looks like I'm lagging already a little bit, but let me know. Let me know. Hold on. Yeah, let me see. I'm coming through laggy. Okay, we got one. We got one in a minute. The stream should. Okay, we got another one. Okay, so we should be good. Shout out to my man, Change for the Better. 111, good to see you. BMT, respect to you as well, brother. Hope all is well to you. All right. Says salute to the chat. What up, Wonderful Travels? Okay, yeah, change your name, man. What's good? What's good, bro? I was just recommending. I was trying to find through my phone the restaurant you recommended me out there in Santo Domingo. All right, I was trying to find it, but I think I got your info in my old phone. I can't remember if it was the email or what. But if you guys don't know, man, you know, when you travel, recommendations are everything. I know you got Google and Chat GPT, but it's nothing like being recommended to a place from another American, all right, or another Passport Bro, rather, or even a local who's lived there. Like, recommendations are everything, man. So shout out to my man, Wonderful Travels, man. I appreciate you putting me on to that restaurant. I think I put you onto a few spots as well, but appreciate that, man. Like I say, that's like the difference in, your trip, basically, is we know where to go, where to stay. I mean, I've had so many incidents where I stayed in the wrong location, wrong area, wrong Airbnb, so shout out to my man, Wonderful Travels. Shout out to my man Jay Rass in the building. Says, "What up, Aaron? What time is it there where you are?" It is 9 a.m. in the morning here in Thailand, man. It's 9 a.m. in the morning, family. But I'm gonna start going earlier on my streams. All right. So I know there's people still filed in the room. I'm gonna go ahead and play this story real quick. All right. I know you guys want to get to this story. This is kind of crazy. This isn't the first time. I'm pretty sure this has happened, but let me go ahead and play this. Jump this right on into it. All right, hold on. Let's load up for a minute. Is it going to have? So it says here, Augusta murder suspect arrested in Thailand. And I know that the news doesn't have a lot of information, but I have a little bit more information since I'm boots on the ground out here in Thailand. They gave out a little bit more information. All right. Okay, appreciate that, Wonderful Travels. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're going to put that. All right. But let's get to the story. Okay. Is it coming through, guys? Is it playing? Hold on. Why isn't it playing? I don't hear anything. What the hell? What is up? All right, man.
Call and say what's up.
Okay, hold on. Let me. You know what? I think it's the actual. Hold on. Okay, I think I know where it is. Hold on. Let me find it. Let me just find it on the internet real quick for you guys. Hold on. Give me a second, family. For some reason, it's not playing the audio. Maybe they blocked it. All right, let me try this way. Yeah, I know it isn't playing. I don't know why they be blocking stuff from some of these. They be doing too much with the blocking. But hold on, let me see if this one will play.
You've been hurt on the job. You're probably worried. Worried about medical treatment?
All right. Let's get through this commercial real quick. I had a video uploaded. For some reason, there's no audio.
Richmond County deputies say Cedric Augusta man wanted.
All right, let's see. Okay, we in here.
An Augusta man wanted for murder has been arrested in Thailand. Richmond County deputies say Cedric Peters has been arrested with the help of U.S. Marshals. We're working to learn when he was arrested and exactly how. He was wanted for the shooting death of 50-year-old Chavius Kimmerlin. That shooting happened back in 2024 at Kimmerlin's home on Highland Avenue. Earlier this month, we told you Denarian Cobbs was arrested in Waynesboro in connection to that same case. This is video of the scene from that day. We brought this story to you as live breaking news. Then deputies accuse the two of shooting Kimmerlin in broad daylight inside of his own home. Both Peters and Cobbs now face murder and gun charges. Right now, it's unclear when Peters will be extradited back here to the U.S.
All right. All right. Did you guys get that? Did you guys hear that? Where my mods at? Let me get my mods in here. Got a few trolls in the building. All right. So this is details. Actually, guys, he was out here. No, he was in Bangkok, Kevin. He was actually in Bangkok. He was out here living for about 2 years. He went on the run. He came out here to Thailand, all right, on the run, basically. And he was getting visa extensions and everything. For some odd reason, maybe they didn't block his passport right away. Usually when it's like it's a state charge, usually it's like a slow process to a certain degree, and they just don't assume that, guys are going to be jumping, going out once they get a warrant on them overseas. And if they are looking, they're looking at probably like DR or something a little closer. All right. But he was, because they didn't get into the full details of the story. So basically, immigration was the one that put that flagged them, and they provided the address to the police out here in Thailand, and they actually arrested him in his condo in Bangkok. All right. So that's crazy, man. Now, don't keep in mind, there's plenty of, guys with, suspicious histories out here in Thailand. It's just not like an isolated incident. But it is interesting, though. The word is out. You know what I mean? The word is out, especially on places like Colombia and Thailand. Listen, guys, I mean, it's a lot of content on the internet. A lot of, people putting out all types of little stuff, little shorts. You can live here for such and such amount of money a month. The ladies, of course. But you got guys that's, that are up on, information about traveling overseas now. It's out there now. What was kind of like I'm not going to say necessarily a hidden secret, because a lot of my military guys were already on this for, years and years and years going. But now it's like not even so much of a trend. It's just a staple now. Like, people are traveling more, and even the hood is traveling more. All right, at this point. Shout out to you, Echo. He says, yeah, get these guys out of here, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, we got a couple of haters. They actually bought a few channels. It's just, I believe I know who it is, man. But we're not gonna let us stray us off our subject. But they've been buying a few channels. They've been buying big channels, all types of channels they're buying right now for some odd reason. I don't want to name no names, but they've been buying a lot of channels lately. And like I said, I believe I know who it is, but it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. So, yeah, like I was saying before, man, this guy, he's suspect of committed a home invasion where somebody ended up dead, unfortunately, rest in peace to them, with another gentleman, and one got caught in Waynesboro. That's not too far. I don't be from Augusta. If you guys are familiar with Augusta, Georgia, by the way, Augusta, Georgia, actually, I know it back in my day, in my single days, I know Augusta, Georgia had some of the prettiest women. All right. Augusta had a lot of beautiful women back in the day. Augusta, Georgia. A lot of guys used to go up to Augusta from Atlanta to hustle the little golf tournament and everything like that. The little golfers be, buying all types of, stuff. So Augusta is about, I want to say 2, maybe 3 hours away from Atlanta. So it's not that far. But, these little small towns, a lot of people don't know these little small towns like Augusta, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, they got their own little gangs and crimes and all types of stuff going on in these little ass towns, man. So it's interesting that this guy, I don't know exactly what he watched. Maybe he watched some content creators, maybe he watched, some creep cameras or whatever, but he somehow ended up all the way in Thailand. And he was living in Thailand for 2 years. All right. He was living in Thailand for 2 years until, they eventually, caught up with him. And like I said, he was utilizing his passport and everything. Immigration flagged him or gave over the information to the police here, the local police in Bangkok, and they went and arrested him. All right. They went and arrested him. And believe it or not, man, you got all types of cats out here in Thailand. You got people trying to avoid certain wars in their homelands. You will hear all types of stories, or, when you walking around, moving around Pattaya. That's why I try to tell people, Pattaya, Thailand in general is very safe. But if you do get into it, more than likely it's going to be with other foreigners. All right, because you got mafias out here, you got people draft dodging out here, you got all types of little things going on, and nobody really wants to go back home. So they'll do whatever it takes to, make money in avoidance of, having to go back home. All right. Yeah, they say got a school there too. Can't remember the name. What was the name of that school? Is it Payne College, I think? Something like that. Yeah, Augusta had the baddies, man. Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. But a lot of these guys, man, they be working the club scene. Since I wonder how he was making the bread for 2 years while living abroad. Yeah, a lot of guys, they be having little hustles out here, bro. I be wondering that too. But he might have had some people sending him money from back home. Bangkok has gotten a little, it's not like super inexpensive, but you still can find good deals in Bangkok. Or maybe he already has some bread stashed up. I wouldn't think he had too much bread if he doing home invasions. All right. Chad the Great. Shout out to you, Chad the Great. Says there was another guy that got caught in Africa a few months ago. He was on a run for like 20 years for a similar crime. What's funny, man? I was in the DR and I ran into Haitian Jack at the pharmacy. Some of you guys might be familiar with Haitian Jack. He was mentioned in a couple of Tupac raps. He was the guy that got arrested with Tupac Shakur because for the R charge, back in New York, back in the 90s. And I seen him do interviews and everything, so I recognized him. And I was like, oh shit! I said, ain't you Haitian Jack? And it's not a secret that he lives in DR, by the way. Okay, guys. So I'm not saying anything, but we chopped it up for a minute and we talked, and we was going to do an interview. We was going to do an interview, but I forgot what happened. I don't know if I went back to Colombia or because we exchanged phone numbers. But he was telling me a lot of stuff that was going on in Haiti and the DR and back in the States. And in some cases, that's a common thing. You know what I mean? Like guys will, leave America and they'll go back to the Caribbean or, if they feel like it's a little hot. So you never know what type of network goes on. And he was telling me certain people that, were still around, believe it or not, still around, still making money, even overseas, after they got, put charges on in the United States. So it can happen. It's possible. Cerebral Aptitude says, don't let the bag hinder you from the dream. Keep it pushing, Passport Bros. Old expat here. Shout out to my man, Cerebral Aptitude, man. Shout out to you, bro. We did an interview. The interview is doing very well. I might play a snippet of it a little later on during the stream. But shout out to my man, Cerebral Aptitude, man. He has a nail salon and a massage shop out here in Pattaya. So make sure you guys check that out as well. All right. All right. Ray Hannaford says, remember that soccer player who refused to pay his bill at a restaurant and he got jumped after he punched an old man. Yeah, I remember that. Was he on the run too? That happened not too long ago. I believe that might have happened in Phuket. All right. Somebody said Passport Bros is getting all right. Shout out to my mods, man. We smoking on a bot packet here, but shout out to the mods. Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to talk about this a little later on in the stream. You said, how's marriage life treating you, BMT? Man, I went out to her home and met her family this weekend, Ashley. I had met her family previously, but, we went. It's like a 10-hour ride from here where she's actually from. She's not from, Pattaya or even Bangkok. She's actually from, I would say the countryside. We went to the mountains. It's a 10-hour drive, so it was a long-ass drive. But it was good meeting the family, man. Ties are pretty cool. I saw a few other foreigners out there for the most part, because she's like in northern Thailand, very near the Laos. You can see now Laos from your hotel room, basically. But it was nice, man. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up a little. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up a little footage for y'all. Hold on. Where we at? Let me see if I can. I might show. Hold on real quick, because I had planned on showing this a little later on during the show, but since you mentioned it, brother, do I have it in here? Okay, let me see if I can find. It might pull up. I don't know if it's going to pull up this janky ass stream, but let me see. Yeah, definitely be careful on these roads out here. Let me see if I can play a little footage. Yeah, so we went all the way up there, man. You see the little mountains and everything. It was nice though. It was a cool little dig. It was a cool little dig, family. It was a cool little dig. Her little hometown is nice. It's nice. All right, so we were just cruising through. But yeah, man, appreciate asking me that, man. It's nice, man. It's pretty cool. All right. So I want to play this real quick. I want to play this. Somebody said, I'm still kind of shocked that you're married now. Praise God, the Most High gives me joy, brother. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate that. I told my mentor, and it was so funny. Shout out to my mentor, very successful businessman out there in California. He's been on the show a few times on a few of the panels. But when I told him, he was just like, "About goddamn time, BMT." All right, but yeah. But it was a nice little hold. Let me play one more clip before we get to the next part of the show. Hold on. Let me see if I can find another clip. But yeah, I saw there was a lot of beautiful women out there going towards that way too. A lot of melanated women, a lot of Asians, brown-skinned Asians. Nowhere near like the girls you see on Walking Street or anything like that. Bunch of tattoos and all that shit. It was nice. It was a cool little vibe out there, bro. It was a cool little vibe. We went to a little Walking Street. All right, it was a couple of little. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find a little clip. I did some recording out there on Walker Street. Where is that clip? I gotta find it. I think I recorded it on my phone, actually, family. So I think it's actually on my phone. Let me see. All right, so this is day 2. Took about a 7-hour drive out here. Didn't quite make it all the way, but we stopped at this hotel. Pretty nice hotel. Right now we in, what's it called? Lomset. So the drive continues. Yeah, man, it was definitely a long drive out there, family. It was definitely a long drive out there.
I wanted to make a correction on.
All right, so let me do a little segue, man. I appreciate all the congratulations, guys. Appreciate that. I'm gonna make a little segue. I don't know why Passport, bro, stay living rent free in everybody's heads, bro. I don't know why people are so attached to it so much. Like I said before, I say all the time, I just thought we was having a viral moment for the most part. But I mean, we just keep, being on people's minds. But I want to play this clip, and this brother makes a very legitimate point, and he got roasted at the end. All right. But this is Tariq Nasheed, and this brother just goes on Tariq Nasheed's show and he sets the record straight. And I actually appreciate Tariq for actually putting this out there and clipping it, putting it out as a video. To me, that's balanced reporting. All right. I know we all have content creators that kind of push their own narratives to a certain degree. And he did a little lightweight roasting at the end. But let me play what this brother came up and pulled up on Tariq Nasheed's show said. Hold on, let me play it.
Call and say what's up. And I wanted to make a correction on Passport Bros that I heard you say a few weeks back.
Yes.
The true definition of a passport bro is someone that actually goes over to another country, not for sex tourism, but to actually look for a wife and marry them and build a family. Anything other than that is a fuckboy.
Facts.
A passport bro is someone who marries and usually lives in their country.
All right. So, just to add on to what he's saying, marriage or serious relationships, a lot of us do decide to live in these countries, but in some cases, guys might go back and forth.
I'm a passport.
Where'd you move to? So where'd you move to?
I actually brought my wife here. I got 4 kids with her. No sex tourism. I've traveled. I've been in 19 countries, not for sex, just to travel. I just happened to find my wife outside the country. I was once married to a sister before. She done what she done. Things happen. We still friends. I still got love for black women. My mother's a black woman. My father's a black woman.
Now, is your lady Asian? Your wife Asian?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Philippines?
Philippines. Yeah, Philippines.
There you go. Okay.
I paid for her to go to college. You can't come over here and not work. We ain't just having nobody come and pump out babies and sit in the kitchen. No, you got to work. She's a registered nurse. I own a trucking company. Everything's good. I still love the sisters. I got mad love for my black family, always and forever. I have nothing bad to say about us. I'm truly pro-black. I just happen to go in another direction. That's about it. But I'm not a true passport bro, not a fuckboy. But I hear these guys running around here paying for sex and doing all that other dumb shit. They not passport bros.
Facts. Shout out to that brother right there for sending a. This is what Tariq responded with, though.
Passport bros that I heard you say a few weeks back.
Hold on. That's the wrong clip. Hold on. And Tariq had to lightweight roast him a little bit. You know how Tariq get. Tariq get down. He gonna, and like I said, it wasn't bad per se. Hold on.
I wanted to make a correction on passport bros that I heard.
Where in the world was it?
Heard you say a few weeks.
But basically, Tariq called him a 90-day fiance. You know how Tariq is. He's going to try to joke and crack a few jokes with it. And you know what's so funny, man? I'm so tired of us having to over-explain ourselves as a group of men. You should be able to do what the hell you want to do, in my opinion. And it's so funny. I remember where was I flying from? I think I was flying from the Dominican Republic. This was like maybe 2019, 2018 or something like that. And I run into her brother in the airport. I was coming back from Brazil, actually. I was coming back from Rio, and I ran into her brother in the airport. Brother looked similar to him. I don't know if it could be the same brother. I'm not sure. But ran to his brother, and he had an Asian wife. And his Asian wife was bringing him food. She was smiling. She was looking real feminine, submissive, all that good stuff. And I remember him saying, he was like, man, I know you think I'm a sellout, brother. I was like, whoa, I don't think you a sellout, bro. Like, no, man, I'm traveling too. I like, traveling and stuff too. And he was like, man, listen, man, I was married to a sister for some years, didn't work out. I tried, but I worked with her brother. And her brother basically, I think they was either Japanese or Korean or something like that. Her brother, which was his friend and co-worker, hooked them up. And they've been married for like 10, 15 years. Okay. So listen, like the guy said in the chat, happiness comes in many forms. People are going to date. People are going to get into relationships. It is what it is. It's here to stay. Is it a solution for everyone in the States or in the West? Not necessarily. It's not for everybody. You know, traveling, having the passport bro ideology, mindset isn't for everybody. But it is bringing a lot of men happiness at the end of the day. Shout out to my man K Sigger in the building. He says passport Pookies are way less of a problem than y'all make them out to be. Yeah, I would say that, you know, but when the incident hits, it's like it always hits a little harder when it comes to us. For the most part, I don't see too many brothers out here traveling in general. But, you know, when I left Colombia, I did feel the vibe change. Like I said, it's out there now. It's 100% out there now. Somebody said that would be Clutch going to Tariq in the show. That would be golden. Listen, man, I've been listening to Tariq for a long time, brothers. During his Matt Lesson show. You know, I bought the Hidden Colors, Hidden Colors and all that stuff. I like Tariq, but he switched it up. And I understand why. It's for financial reasons. You know, you don't get a lot of financial support from the bros, you know, maybe men in general, but specifically for the bros. He switched it up from the Mac lessons where he was telling brothers to, you know, marry a mixed mulatto woman with a white mom and a black dad. You know, he said that on his show, and that's what he ended up doing, marrying, you know, his wife that was mixed with a white mom. And he kind of started to go more the pro-black area. He went from the, you know, macking and saying what's wrong with modern day relationships, you know, basically it being somewhat of a lightweight Tommy Sotomayor, you know what I mean? And he even did collabs with them. And then he started shifting into the pro-black space. And then, of course, when you shift into that space, you need to kind of increase your reach by including the sisters as well, all right? Because the pro-black space is already somewhat, not necessarily a small space. It's definitely a niche space. But when you do that, you got to kind of have more of a balance. So what Tariq and Dr. Umar and Boyce, what they'll do is they'll always kind of throw brothers under the bus to kind of signal that emotional, you know, trigger pull for the sisters and for women. Not all, but they know what they're doing psychologically. You know, they know what they do because the women generally support. He's raised millions of dollars. Primarily, I'm pretty sure through women. You know, he does a lot of educational, family-friendly oriented content and videos, not content, but documentaries as well. Shout out to my man, Desi said, BMT, I'm a big fan, but I subscribe casual conversations point of view on this subject. Said Tariq versus I would be a classic no holds bar on either side. You know what, man? That's the thing, man. You know, a lot of these guys, a lot of these content creators, you know, I agree with some of the things that they say, probably about 80% in some cases. You know, I don't like Satan Center, but I agree with certain things he says about prison reform and, you know, how the world looks at black people through the eyes of, you know, how Africans or black Americans to a certain degree. Like, I agree with some of the stuff that he says, you know, but some of the stuff he says is kind of ass backwards too. Oh, okay, so hold on. That was my place. Hold on. You said for every black passport Pookie, there's 100 white or Indian passport Pookies. Man, listen. I was out here, you know, it's brother, these people, man, the more people that come to patio, the more dusty it becomes. I mean, it just be all types of messed up ass behavior out here, bro. It was a guy in Singapore, I think. It was an Indian guy, but it had his face blurred out and covered. So people, you know, Indians have, they be eye complexion. So because his face covered, it looks like, you know, black guy jumping on a little Asian woman, but it's really an Indian. You know, he had jumped on her in the mall, he was kicking her and everything like that. But everybody in the comment section was just like, "Hey, he's Indian. He's not black. You know, he's Indian." So, yeah, it's a lot of little janky. Okay, I know that guy is. There's a lot of janky little behavior going on out here, bro. Like from other foreigners. Driving on the wrong side of the road, getting into motorcycle accidents, selling dope. So in essence, you're right. All right. So much I actually agree with Tariq on that. If a guy wants to marry a mixed woman, well, I'm not gonna say all women are like their moms, but a lot of women end up being, very similar in their characteristics and how they view men in relationships through the eyes of their mother to a certain degree. And he was saying, get with a black woman or a mixed woman with a white mom. He said that. He said that. And some of his detractors, they brought that up. And he's always kind of cracked his way out of it. Kevin said, you saw that? Data CPA says passport Pookies are not the problem. Black men move abroad and don't evolve. We still aren't building, and our networking is a joke. I would agree with that. You know what, man? I was really thinking about it. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find this map here. Hold on. I'm glad you said that. Man. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this map here. All right. Let me pull this map up real quick for the fam. Where's that image file? Okay. I really hate how StreamYard has this up now. Hold on, let me get this. Let me show this image file. Hold up. There we go. So what you're seeing right here, and I'll be looking through. I actually posted this in the Passport Bros Facebook group. Shout out to all you guys in the Passport Bros Facebook group, and I posted it on the Passport Bros app as well. What you're seeing here, this is Pattaya. This is not India. This is Pattaya City, right? And this is like South Pattaya, basically. All right. And where the flags that you guys see is where a lot of other nationalities own businesses. This would be their version of their little business district, as well as a lot of them stay in this area. So they got their own little, I'm not gonna say necessarily Black Wall Street, but they got where they circle their money within their own, I guess you would say, expat community, basically. So you see all these Indian flags, this is the area. Okay, a lot of Indian and Turkish businesses. All right, you got a few little British businesses out there. You got a few American scattered around. And this map actually gets pretty expansive. I have another map too. It's all throughout Pattaya. Let me see. And this area is more like, I would say this is more North Pattaya. You got a lot of Chinese, a lot of British. All right, this is like North Pattaya area near Terminal 21. You got a lot of different businesses and stuff like that. So you see these general areas. These are businesses and communities. You see a lot of Koreans out there in North Pattaya. They've kind of brought in infrastructure, money, and they've invested in buildings, businesses, all right, hotels. And I was wondering to myself, I said, will we ever be together enough? All right. And we will fall under, of course, the American flag, but we know that we kind of segment to a little bit. Don't get me wrong, Americans are kind of together overseas, but in particular, Black Americans, will we ever have it together enough? All right. Will we ever be able to work well enough together and not let our egos, all right, and our emotions get the best of us when it comes to business? Will we ever be able to put something like this together overseas? Whether it be in Thailand, whether it be in Brazil, because you got expat communities in Brazil as well, the Japanese in Sao Paulo, all right? You got expat communities all throughout the Caribbean, the DR, the Suez, Jews and Germans. You got, Colombia. Colombia is pretty much all Latino for the most part, but of course you got the little Spaniard areas that well. But will we ever be all together enough to invest in some type of infrastructure where we have our own expat community? And sadly, I don't know if it's possible. I don't even know if it's possible. Somebody say we can hope. Listen, there are some black businesses overseas. You know, we try to promote the black. I do interviews with guys. Shout out to my man Brandon at Culture. All right. Shout out to my man Cerebral Aptitude with the nail salon and massage spot too, parlor as well. Who else we got out here? Shout out to Tommy's and Kicking Chicken. So you got little businesses here and there kind of sprinkled out, but we don't really have like dedicated districts like that. Let me see. I got another little map. Like I said, a lot of people were confused by this map, but this is exactly what it is out here. All right, this is exactly what it is out here. Everybody kind of mixes in with their own community. All right. Okay, so this is like the John TM area. Yeah, this is like the John TM area. Yeah, you got John TM Beach right over here. And you got, I'm not sure what flag that is, but you got a couple of Americans out there. What flag is that? What flag is that, family? What's the blue flag? I forgot the blue flag. What flag is that? Let me know. What flag is the blue flag? Is that Sweden or something like that? I'm not sure. Julia Caesar says, hold on. Escapetrix 2 says you can't have a community when you have Tom Yums. Facts, man. That dude was a clown. That dude was such a clown. Hold on. We got to do a panel now. We got to drop a panel. Said no, because most of us are raised by black single female households that don't teach us together business mindset. I think it's the observer Melanie. I think it's a little bit more than that. I hear what you're saying, though. I hear what you're saying. Like we don't have certain exercises to suppress envy and jealousy and ego for the greater good. Generally speaking, we don't look at each other as countrymen. We look at each other as positional. Like we have like positional power in America, which is the top country in the world. It's a superpower of 100% sure on that. Like I said, it comes with a real rare uniqueness. Because we in a I tell people all the time, we are in a very unique situation. Black Americans in general are in the most unique situation than any other group on the planet, because every other group on the planet is tied to, of course, the land that they own, their own language. Like I get all that, but we're just very unique in that way. We're very unique in that way, family. All right, we got our first super chat. Let me read the super chat real quick. We might do a panel, man. All right, shout out to my man Scott Cook. Hold on, let me pull you up. We in here chopping it up. Shout out to you for the first super chat. Scott Cook 2906 with $10 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. It says in Rio now, spending 1 week each in Botafogo, Copacabana, Ipanema, and Barra da Tijuca. Shout out to you, Scott Cook, man. Enjoy all of that, all right? I haven't been to Botafogo, but I've been everywhere else. Shout out, and I love Barra da Tijuca, by the way. I try to tell guys about Barra da Tijuca all the time, especially in the Passport Bros app, all right? Okay, the European Union, that's right. Shout out to my man, Stephen Bowler. That's correct. Listen, I was out there at John TM one time. And I ran into where was he from? Was he Norwegian or something? What was his white guy from? And I was just like, hey, man, you Russian or something? And he looked at me like I stole something from him. He was like, I'm not Russian. I'm not that piece of blah, 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 blah. I'm Yugoslavian. He was saying something like that. But I'm like, man, I don't know the goddamn difference. But, yeah, they are very, very distinct. And that's another thing why everybody is so triggered by this FBA, acknowledging our lineage and everything like that. It's because of that unique position I was mentioning that we are in, but also it's like we've been kind of taught that everybody that look like us is us, right? And people take advantage of that mindset. But when you go overseas, everybody is their culture, right? And in every ethnic group, they have different parts, right? Of course, you got Europeans. We all look at them as Europeans or white per se, but they're very segmented. Even with Asians, the same thing. All right. Even with Latinos, the very same thing. So it is okay for Black Americans to kind of be segmented as well because everybody else does it. All right. In my opinion, we would all like to all say we all together, we all Afro and all that. We would like to have that and say that, but that's just not how it works. You call a Japanese person Chinese, they're going to feel like it's an insult. You call a Russian or Ukrainian, they're going to feel like, hey, they're going to get upset. You say the wrong thing, like, ni hao to somebody that's Thai or something like that, they're going to feel offended. Even though, we look at them as all Asian or all European or all white. It's very different. All right, Case Sager 123 says the main issue comes from women who purposely raise men not to respect each other. Why are y'all putting this all on the women? I got a question. Why are y'all all putting this on the women? Where does the men get held accountable at some point? We can't put it all on them, family. I'm just being fair. All right. I'm just being fair. You can't put it all. They were put in a position of survival mode. All right. Oh, Australia. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of Aussies out here. Shout out to my Aussies. They pretty cool. Shout out to the Aussies. Let me pull up this poll real quick, and I might drop a link for the fam. I know it's late, but we'll see if we can do a little quick panel. Where's my All right, let me see what the chat said about the passport Pookies. All right, are passport Pookies ruining passport bros image? 68% say yes, 32% say no. My man says crabs in a pot. What up, is Jay Clyde? Oh, it's Jay Clyde. Hold on. Let me show this image for Jay Clyde real quick. And most of you do agree that passport Pookies are ruining the image of the passport bros. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can put up this other image. Hold on. Let me remove some of this shit. Hold on. Let me get some of this stuff out of here. Let's get organized. Hold on. You know what I'm gonna show, Jay Clyde? You know what I'm gonna show. All right, hold on. Where is this image at? Did I share that image? I think I did. Hold on. Where is that image at? Damn it. Hold on, family. Where is it? I know I got it in here somewhere. All right, let me see. It was about the safety in Colombia. Basically, it was a chart that was comparing the cities as far as the murders within the city for the year. And Medellin came in actually lower than a lot of cities. I think Cali came in number one. Where is that damn list at? I don't know why I can't find that list, family. You know what? Let me see if I go this way. And I posted it in a Facebook group. Oh, here it is right here. I got to pull it up and everything. Hold on, fam. My bad. All right, here we go. All right, it's the number of homicides in the city of Columbia in 2025. All right. Now, this is per 100,000, I believe. This is per 100,000. As you guys can see, you got 428 murders in Barranquilla, Cartagena with 359, Medellin. Can you guys see that? Oh, it's a little bit bigger now. Calcutta with 336, Bogota, and Bogota is a big major city. Okay, so 1,173. This was compared. I did a comparison between Atlanta and Bogota because the population is similar, and I believe Atlanta was just slightly lower, not by much. It was slightly lower, believe it or not. Then of course you got Cali. That's up there as well. Now, all this is relative to the actual population numbers, but just kind of give you guys a general rundown. And Texas and Columbia is the size of Texas, by the way. All right. Let's see what Jay Clark got to say. I know he's saying something in a bit. Hold on. All right. He says, obviously, Medellin is safer than those other cities. Ninja 2 lead them to believe it's more dangerous. Certain aspects of Medellin is dangerous if you decide to participate in certain late night activities. That's what makes Medellin so dangerous. But also what makes Medellin dangerous is not the murders, is the robberies. Okay? So we had a stat when it comes to the robberies, I think Medellin would be a little high, Jay Clyde. All right? The Bankster says, too many guys travel outside the U.S. and do stupid shit that they would have never done in the USA. It makes it harder on us, the rest of us, to travel. Yeah, that's true. We got 129 in the room, man. Guys, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. We in here. Somebody said, as BMT once said, Columbia, you got to move like Agent X. Yeah, I don't know how these. Let me see something. Where is that? Yeah, I don't know. I got it on subscriber mode, so I'm not sure why we're still seeing some of these bots. Shout out to UCC92. Okay, so y'all really stepping down on Somebody said slavery caused a windfall amongst us African Americans. We weren't raised the enterprise mentality like other folks have. We had to learn it. You know what's interesting, man? You know, not to get too far off subject, but America learned its group economics from Black Americans, really. All right? Because we was the first ones to really do it after slavery. A generation after slavery, we built Black Wall Streets, and because we were segregated, we had no choice but to rotate the money back within our own community because of segregation. So yeah, we were the blueprint for that. So it wasn't all slavery. It was really desegregation that kind of hurt us when it comes to building once together. I got a picture. I can't find it right now, but I got a picture of a mega store. I think it was in the Black Wall Street of Oklahoma. It might have been in Rosewood, but it was this mega store similar to the Walmart of today. And you had about 13 Black men that owned this mega store. You got the pictures of them, the brothers that owned this mega store. And I say, man, it's so hard to get 13 Black men on the same accord, looking at the same goals, right? And not tearing each other down and trying to, it's so hard to find that now because everybody wants to be the leader and egos and, so it was definitely different back then. It was definitely different, but it was like the first mega store. It was like the Sears of, the early 1900s, basically. Yeah, like I said, about 13 brothers that owned that mega store. Rude Moonchild 9429. So that's a conversation about ethnicity versus nationality, and many different groups of black people conduct themselves differently. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Well, the thing is, man, it's really about opportunities. All right. And these countries, they're just not enough jobs and education and positions to go around like the United States. And on top of that, Americans have a system of borrowing money, building credit, having positive debt, and having more resources in order to invest in certain things. This is why everybody wants to get to America. Okay, so we just have more opportunities. Somebody said the problem stems from far as not being the leaders of the household. The problem stems from it not being allowed in the social order of the United States. A lot of people thought the Black Wall Streets were burned down because you had a bunch of jealous white folks that was racist. It's more deeper than that. And you can look this up. I mean, I forgot what book, the name of the title of the book was, but it was basically like some of the black boule were going around, writing notes and feeding information back to the American government saying how successful these Black Wall Streets were spreading around the country. And it was a threat to the social order because when it comes to economics generally influence politics. So they wanted to keep the black community at the lower floor of the, economic ladder. So in order to do that, they had to disrupt all our black business districts. They didn't want us to have a say in local politics and federal politics by having so much money. You had black oil barons. They were all murdered and killed. Okay. All right. You had black people that owned beaches, entire beaches. They were all stolen. You had black people that had money in U.S. banks, and they were all stolen money, right? Life savings stolen. So there's a lot of reasons. And they allowed for us to have what they call positional power, meaning they allow for us to go to school and get jobs in order to empower white institutions and white corporations. That's where we at today. All right. Not to say that we don't have some black businesses. We do, but we don't necessarily have too many black corporations, and black corporations are the soft power in the United States that cause a lot of influence into politics. All right. And I see y'all keep going back and forth with the family. Yeah, it does all start with the family. I'm not saying it does not start with the black family, because it does. And the black family has 100% been tampered with. But to me, it just goes so much deeper. You got to understand, family, the first time the U.S. Air Force, and the only time the U.S. Air Force has been used in the United States, within the borders of the United States, was to bomb a black community, Black Wall Street out there in Oklahoma. That's the first time, the last time, and the only time it's ever been used by the United States Air Forces when they bombed Black Wall Street out there in Oklahoma. We got an all off subject and shit. All right. Blaming things only on the women is red pill talk. The instance want to point fingers. Right. I thought we was past that. If you're going to deal with the sisters, deal with them. If not, it is what it is. I still got love for my sisters, though. But it was society that allowed people to behave this way, only pointing out women is incel behavior. You know what? Let me drop a link. Let me. We've been chopping up here for a minute, man. Let me drop a link. And I also have another super chat. I think that's my man, Cerebral Aptitude. All right. We ain't got a little bit off subject, but this is something good to talk about. And this is referencing the business districts. And for some reason, when I posted this, people were offended. Like it was like an offensive post. It's not an offensive post. This is exactly what Pattaya is. Yeah, Indians are together. All right. Europeans are together. Turkish are together. Yeah, they have their own little communities out here within Pattaya. All right. This is South Pattaya. This is South Pattaya. This is more South Pattaya. All right. No, this is North Pattaya. I'm sorry. This is North Pattaya. And like I said, you'll see a lot of Koreans out here as well. All right. Let me get the super chat. Did I drop the link? I think I dropped the link. All right, let me get super chat. What's my man Jay Clyde saying real quick? What you say, Jay Clyde? Okay. We got somebody in the chat. Let me get these super chats and I'm gonna bring you on, bro. Cerebral Aptitude with a $50 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. Guys, make sure to check out his channel. All right, and check out the last interview I did with him. He drops a lot of information on how he was able to stack $800,000 before he left the United States. He gave us some great game in that interview. He's doing numbers too, by the way. It's already at 4K. He says, sadly, fam, we'll listen to white men before they listen to successful black men. Even when I walk them through the process step by step for free, I keep attempting it until my season passes. It truly isn't that difficult. Shout out to my man, Cerebral Aptitude. And of course, you're welcome on the panel if you're not busy. All right. Malik Martinez with $9 super chat. I really appreciate that. Glad someone with a platform sharing our history. Shout out to you, Malik Martinez. I appreciate $9 super chat, by the way. The Gangster Bankster says, in my opinion, the last place to find peace and traditional women are some countries in Africa. Example, Austin is showing how nice Namibia is. All right, shout out to my man, Gangster Bankster. I think I pronounced that right. All right, where you at? Where we at? Observer Melanin? What's going on, bro? What's good with you?
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
We doing good, man. We doing good.
You kind of downplaying the black family, dog. I mean, you know how monumental it's been since the 1970s up to now, and that's why we have to be passport bros. A lot of that is structured around the welfare system, Section 8 houses. There's a reason why those high rises are gone now, because the experiment worked. All the high rises, like in Chicago, Philadelphia, all the main cities, right? Thanks to the Democrats, the Democrats, that's what I call them. But
it wasn't. So hold on. Let me say, so it wasn't government interference like zoning. Putting highways through like Auburn Avenue in Atlanta, race riots. It was none of that. It was the black family.
That's part. That's a small part. I'm talking about the mental.
That's a small part. Listen, the U.S. Air Force bombing Black Wall Street is a small part.
No. I'm not saying none of that. I'm not saying that's not monumental, right? Important. I'm saying the mental stability of black children between having a mom that has to go to work, has to have time for herself, and they don't teach their kids nothing. They don't have time because they're trying to do it all by themselves. You have to have a man structure and a woman structure, and that's been gone since the 1970s, bro. That's why we don't have a business mindset to stick together. If you really understand black women, they don't even stick together with themselves. They always fighting and arguing. They can't keep friends. They can't even be friends with themselves. Do you think we don't see that when we grow up as kids?
I mean, you got some groups of black women that have their own banks. What was it, the Deltas or something like that? I mean, you can't put them all.
I'm talking about the 72% of the single female household. Now, you talking about maybe 10% of that or 20. I'm talking about a vast majority of our the kids are being raised to raise themselves. I was raising myself for the most part. You know how many stumbles I had to go through?
So let me ask you this. What do you think, because you mentioned welfare earlier, do you think it was the fact that Lyndon B. Johnson created the Section 8 welfare, man cannot be in the home? Was that what destroyed the black family?
Lyndon B. Johnson didn't create that. He just went along with putting it in place.
Well,
that was a think tank strategic. That was a think. Yeah,
his administration basically. Let's just say his administration. We don't want to get you into semantics.
Listen,
So wait a
though,
minute.
it
Is that? But hold
continued.
on. Is that on black women or is that on the U.S. government?
Black women, your first, where you taught your whole mental and discipline and all that. Where is that taught, bro?
It's
In the
taught at home.
household.
It's
In
taught
the
at home.
household. Okay,
It's taught at
so
home.
let's break down what's in our households. After she
Mm-hmm.
leave and go to work, right? She got to come home, cook, wash dishes, do the laundry, all kind of crazy stuff, and it's just her. What are you in front of? You
Okay,
either
let me
playing
ask
a
you this.
video game or you watching the TV, and what's
Okay.
on those? What's on those? It's teaching you all your bad habits.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If other countries of women, right, if they had the
Right.
same option, would they be in the same position as Black American women?
No, I think those high rises, for the most part, still be standing and never was touched.
So you
Black
saying
women, if black
hold
women
on,
really was serious about having the black
you
man
do
and the family stick together, they would have
right.
slept on the street before going up
Mm-hmm.
into them high
Mm-hmm.
rises. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't see the whole scenario or didn't
Okay, hold on.
care.
Okay, hold on. I think that women in general, a lot of them can be opportunists no matter where you are. And a lot of them took what they felt like was the better deal. Live
But was it
basically
really?
rent
Was it really, bro?
free.
But was
I
it
mean,
really?
looking at it, but hold on, I'm
Do
about to
you
drop a
know
bomb on you. Hold on.
the biggest Holocaust in the 1980s and early 90s of the drug trade happened in the high rises? You know how many good, strong, smart brothers are dead to this day? I'm 56, dog. I've seen it.
Mhm,
I lived it. I'm not telling you what I don't know. I lived it.
mhm.
I saw it. It is so many good, strong black brothers. Man, our generation was one of the strongest black men ever in the history of this country. You want to know why? Because we had the mental and the physical and the size. These dudes now are little. I'm
Okay.
telling you, I'm 6 foot, and out of all the group of my partners, they were all 6'3", 6'2", 6'4", 6. These dudes was big. We had some big, strong brothers, and they figured
Okay.
out a way to get
I'm about
rid
to
of
blow up your
a lot
argument
of
in a
us.
second. I'm about to blow up your argument in a second now. Hold on. So you're saying that foreign women are better, basically more compatible for the family structure?
I said foreign women, they haven't been subject to the craziness that we've been subject to. So they're
Are
going
you
to
sure?
have a vast, I think for the majority, I'm not saying all, you trying to pick out a certain percentage. I'm saying majority of black kids didn't have a fighting chance mentally because we didn't have both
All right. Sorry about
sides
that.
of
We back.
both sides of the mentality. I think the kids are missing the man side, the
Okay.
discipline.
Now I'm about to blow up your argument now.
Um,
I'm about to blow up. Hold on. Is it coming up? Babies born outside of marriage. Colombia, 87%. Chile, 78%. Keep in mind,
what year? What decade is this? What decade?
this is
I ain't talking
current.
about
This is
now.
current. This is
No,
current.
no, I'm talking about from 1970 up to now, bro. This is multiple decades that we've suffered. This just didn't happen just overnight, like you trying to put out there decade ago. I'm talking about since the 1970s up to 2025.
Listen, we're talking about the family structure, right? I'm showing you that 87% of the children born in Colombia are born outside of marriage.
Okay.
Chile, 78%, Costa Rica, 74%, all throughout Latin America. You got Iceland, 69%. All right,
Now,
Norway.
if you could show me every decade what that was like.
Let me finish. We're not talking about the decades. We're just talking about currently. As you can see, the U.S. is only at 40%. We kind of like low at the low end. but you got it all throughout the world. In some cases, even negative birth rates to go along along with it.
What does that have to do with public housing and the welfare system and how it robbed of the black family?
I'm trying to
that
show
don't
you
have
that
nothing to do with it.
No. What I'm trying to show you that it's damn near worldwide, but people still the men have still figured out a way to work together outside of it from being broken homes.
Do you know how many billions and trillions of dollars they put in America to disenfranchise us, dude? They not fighting this type of beast that America. They don't have the money that America has. They're putting billions of dollars behind black women to be non-family or to get along with their men and all that, man. Why you think they came up with this family court? That didn't exist in the 70s, 60s. Family court came around in the 80s. Because they want to charge you and say, hey, I don't care that you making $5 an hour back in the 80s. You still gonna have to pay her. Well, how am I gonna do that? You have to understand, if I'm a woman, I'm not gonna allow some man to impregnate me that I can see is suffering himself or he ain't doing that great. And they don't care because they having kids out of fun sex, not agreeing to procreate.
Hold on, but observer. Well, I think we're disagreeing that. All right, we both know that there's certain elements that have, programmed us a certain way to where we're not building the way we should. You're blaming it on black women. I'm blaming.
I'm not blaming black women, bro. I'm blaming the fact that. No, listen. I'm not.
I'm blaming on. I'm blaming it on government.
But you have to understand. You have to understand, bro.
You gotta let me finish, bro. You gotta let me. You talking over me, man. You gotta let me finish.
My bad. Go ahead.
All right. Like I said before, you're saying that it's the family structure. I'm saying that it's the government influence on the family. The government is very powerful, and they've disrupted us into not having men in the home in order for us to build. But even at that point, you still have ethnic groups of men that are coming from single family homes that are still building with each other, like Mexico. You got the cartels out there in Mexico. You got, cartels out in Colombia. These men, whether it be positive or however how you spin it, they're still building alongside each other. So it's just not that. It's other factors at play.
Do you know how many black women are messing with men with 6 baby mamas? And then they not getting knocked up by them.
Putting it all on black women, bro. You still putting it all on black women.
It's got to be them. Except they 72% of the household. You got to shut your.
So hold on. So you saying that is black reason the problem that black guys aren't building like kids, our own districts in these countries?
The kids are not being taught a business mindset through a single female household, bro. That's not
true. That's not true.
That's very true.
That's not true. That's
I got
tons of entrepreneurs coming from single parent households, bro. You got tons. Generation.
Listen, this what engine you fighting, right? You fighting drugs, you fighting alcoholism, you fighting mental health, you fighting the fact that you can't give up, you got to keep going, being broke, poor. How many single female households is poor, dog? They don't give us nothing. No resources. You got to have resources to be able to have a business mindset, bro. That's all a business mindset is resources.
Man, I think you're all over the place here, bro.
Hey, it's all over the place here in America.
I think certain elements of what you're saying is true. I'm not saying that you're necessarily all the way wrong, but to blame it, the reason that black men aren't building, even overseas, on black women, it's a stretch, in my opinion.
I'm going to give you another thing. The drug trade taught us not to get along as well. It was all about individualism, dog. It was all about. Why do you think? Listen. Listen,
You got
if you
you got
listen,
whole crews that made millions of dollars together and
you right,
folded into the record label.
once they made the money, they all backstabbed and was killing each other. Why you think that what's the name story is popular? All up in DC, all up in the Northeast, everywhere. Bro, I'm telling you, it's a lot of good brothers dead, smart,
You
because
know
they
what?
were
Hold on, real
stabbed
quick.
in the back. We couldn't get along. We didn't get along. And you want to know why? Because men wasn't in their ear and the woman didn't care. She was just, how many women called the police on their son because he was dealing drugs because they jealous because he didn't because he didn't give. They the ones raising the kids, dog. You cannot get around that.
All right.
You can't get around that.
Okay. Let me catch this real quick. K Sager 123 says black culture is about black men beefing with black men. You know what? I don't know if that's culture, but that's definitely hip hop. I know you guys. How many of you guys seen that clip of Tony Yayo and what's his name, Uncle Murder, on a plane with Ja Rule and they getting into it in first class? I'm just like, come on, bro. Come on, y'all dudes is 50-something years old, man. Like, give it a rest. At the same time, I've been in my own little beefs out here, you know, so I get it. I get it, but you're right.
It's all psychological. Yeah. It's all psychological, man. You have to be taught to be able to ignore things. And I'm gonna tell you, that's what white people got down, man. Most of them got that down. They can ignore the silliness that the other dude is talking. And then at the end of the day, we either gonna get this money or we're gonna fall apart. But we don't have no resources. You want to know why? Because single female households is mostly broke, struggling with no resources. Hey, bro, bro. Hey, man, I lived it, dog. I lived it. And I'm gonna tell you, no, we all didn't, but I lived it. Some dudes.
All right, hold on, Mazur. Let me get super chat real quick. I got you, bro. J-Rag, Sophia, I see the Colombian, 10 million Colombian pesos, man. I really appreciate it. Shout out to you out there in Medellin. There have been so many drug cliques who have made millions in the hood. They have a business mindset, just illegal. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. You had whole projects working with each other. You know, a lot of guys learn entrepreneurship. They just was into that game too long because that game is a dead end. It's either jail or dead. All right. Where we had another good comment. A Wizard 1234. This is not what a business mindset is. You have to learn before you have anything. You start from nothing. Dr. Andy WN5 Ook says black men not building overseas is not a result of black women. Again, both genders have free will. All right.
Household, bro. I said household. 72% of black children are born or growing up in a single female household. It's not blaming the women. It's blaming the concept of the single female household. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand, man. You up against something that you're going to fail mostly.
Okay. So why you looking at this chart I have on the screen here? Why are these people still building within their own communities?
Because they ain't giving up.
If they're by that logic, are you saying black men are giving up?
I think we are the most hammered down on in society. So we the last to get hired, first to get fired, dog. I mean, I had to go into trucking.
I don't disagree with you. That's facts.
I had to go into trucking and control my narrative because ain't nobody in this truck but me. So if I get fired, it's because I fired myself. When you in that four-wall syndrome, dog, there's cliques, there's people, as soon as you hit the door, that don't like you. Oh, he looked like a dude I can't get over on or I can control, so I don't like him. That's what I had to deal with because I wasn't no little bitty dude and I wasn't a dummy. And you're not going to tell me stupid stuff to do when I know you ain't telling these people that they don't have to do it, but I do, you know? So I got tired of that that four wall syndrome. So since I've been doing this, dog, I've been stacking my paper very well. Matter of fact, I'm married, dog, to a Dominican. I got a spot over in
Okay.
Santo Domingo. I'm
Shout out to
56. My
you.
wife, listen,
Shout out to
I'm
you.
56. My wife is 27, dog. Fine as a motherfucker, and she's disciplined. I don't, hey, bro, I've been through it, dog. I'm trying to tell you what I know, not what you think. I lived
Okay.
what I'm telling you. And
Shout out to you, man. Congrats on that. He said, who is this dude? African countries don't provide any resources whatsoever, but somehow they hustle up a viable legal business. DR, y'all missing the point. Being born poor doesn't mean you have to stay poor. That is a choice. At a certain point in life, not having knowledge rests on your own shoulders. I would say in America and in Western countries, that's true. But in some cases, the opportunities in some of these countries, they're just not there, bro. I've lived in these countries. The education system, I mean, we built a roof out there in Rio Hacha, Colombia, or helped build a roof. And they got them they got the native population pretty much isolated or, on their own little lands. That, man, we went into where they teach the kids at of the native. A lot of people don't know that, Colombia definitely has a native population. They're like light-skinned, brown-skinned, melanated, copper tone, long hair, like you would see in the Amazon jungle. This is the community of the Cameroonese out there in Rio Hacha. And when you walk into this little school, it's basically a shack, bro. And it's 150 degrees out there. And they're just teaching the basics. So in some cases, they just don't have the opportunities, bro. This is why they're doing what they're doing to a certain degree. So his point is falling apart. Yeah. Beauty Brown says, stop the victim mentality, man. You are the man. Come up with a solution. 100% true, in my opinion. I'm gonna bring you back on in a moment. I had to mute you a little bit, bro, while I read through the comments. All right. Question: if a group of kids misbehave because they were abused, do you blame their abuser? All right, that might have went over a couple of you guys' heads. Question: if a group of kids misbehave because they were abused, do you blame the abuser? All right. All right, total awesomeness 8935 says black men beef with each and every country. Let me pull this stat up again so you guys can know what we're talking about. Hold on, because we kind of segued from the original subject. Yeah, why is it not showing? Let me see if I can find those. There we go. Okay. So we're talking about black men building business and communities overseas. This statement was by Data CP, who was saying we're still not building anything. And in reference, I showed these communities here in Pattaya. This is South Pattaya right here. All right, now that's just like central Pattaya to a certain degree. But he says black men beef with each other in every country: Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Brazil, and the USA. Okay. He says, nothing missed. You cannot blame your whole life in a single mother crisis. The Native American expert says, I lived it even with both parents in the home, and I still got out of the hood. Says, can't blame women for everything. That's my opinion. 2016 call, they want the gender war management talking points back. I'm thinking we passed that, bro. We identified the problem. We came up with solutions. It was to travel the world. And if you're not having success with relationships in America, just find, your woman overseas. I understand what Observer Melanin is talking about, because the most important decision that you make as a man is who you choose to marry. Okay. And if the women in your, area or in your city if they're not trying to build a positive relationship where you actually raise your kids in a 2-parent household, then you might have to go elsewhere. All right. But the password bros have always been the solution. Hero Epps says, I understand where both of y'all coming from, and he has not lied yet. All right, I got another super chat here by Turkish Tyrone. I like that. Turkish Tyrone, I like that. If Black people married at 90%, a wealth gap would exist. That's an interesting statement. If Black people married at 90%, a wealth gap would exist. Well, that depends on who you marry to. All right. If you marry a woman that's going to keep you down in debt, yes. But if you notice, the people that are high on the economic ladder are the most married. Okay. And within their culture, their women believe in funneling the resources, the extra resources, to the next generation when it comes to education or entrepreneurship. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand the box. I have it on. It should be on subscriber mode. Do you guys see subscriber mode in the comment section? Let me know if you see subscriber mode in the comment section, because it should be on subscriber mode. All right, shout out to my man MAB, the MAB Experience. Shout out to you, bro. He says, salute to BMT in the chat. Travel safe and enjoy life, bros. We got to chop it up, man. Shout out to you, MAB. I still got to connect with my man. What's his name out there in Colombia, man? His name escaped me right now. Forgive me. He just opened up, I believe, like a hotel and a restaurant, if I'm not mistaken, like a boutique spot. Let me know, Mab, because we got to connect. I got to bring him onto the show, man, because we're all about entrepreneurship here, too. I also appreciate you guys in the chat.
Can you hear me, BMT?
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give y'all some free game on why we don't have generational wealth. How many households tell their kids early on in their 20s, and a lot of us got 4, 5, 6 kids, big families. How many of the parents or parent tell the kids, hey, I'm gonna go get this $1 million life insurance policy while we young. Y'all keep it going. Keep the policy paid up until I'm gone, and boom, y'all got $1 million. White people been doing that. We still haven't gotten that concept. You got some women saying, nah, you ain't profiting off my dear. My mama told me that. I told my mom 20 years ago, I make enough money to take out a $500,000 life insurance policy. You think she went along with it? No. There's many things, dog, that's coming out of them households that's just crazy and prohibiting us from advancing the way we need to advance, dog. On top of it, there's a lot of jealousy and envy. A lot of jealousy and envy is keeping us. Not everybody want to run the show. Everybody want to run the show. And look at
that here in Patchy too with some of the brothers that own businesses.
Yeah. It's arrogance. It's arrogance, dude. Everybody wants to be the man.
I would hear, like, as I'm doing some of these interviews, I would hear the other business owner talking about the other business owner, and I just be like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to be competitive, but when you have such a large expat community, it's enough money to go around for everybody, in my opinion.
You would think, but hey, one person want to suck up all the money, just like here. They want to capitalize on all the money, don't want to see nobody else make no money. That's some crazy. That's that capitalism individualism, capitalist mindset.
See, now at this point, I agree
And
with you.
with that,
This part you saying don't got nothing to do with black women. So this part, I agree. Okay, because this is just specifically with the men, our egos, all right, selfishness.
yeah.
We don't look at each other like countrymen. That's the problem. We don't have a cause for the greater good. You know, a lot of us
Hey,
are
just
more
like that,
comfortable.
just
I
like
said
that
before, a lot of us-
Anton
hold on, let
Daniels
me
and that
finish.
Corey Holcomb.
I got you. Let me finish, bro. You're talking over me. But a lot of us are comfortable in what I call positional power. You got black men all throughout, one of the most powerful men in this world, believe it or not, is a black general for the United States Air Force. Okay, he's technically one of the most powerful men in the world, because he pretty much runs the infrastructure of the U.S. Air Force, which is where, when it hit the fan, that's what they're sending over there first, right? But that's positional power. Like, just imagine if you had that guy with that same mindset, with the resources to have our own country, that we can protect our own borders. Okay. Let me read this comment by Turkish Tyrone. My point being, no amount of marriage and savings would make up for the generations of wealth stolen and opportunities destroyed. No victim mentality is a truthful mentality. As these are facts. These are facts.
There is no such thing as a victim mentality, man. History and life experiences is real. It ain't being no damn victim. It's telling you what you went through. That's that old stupid racist white people talking, oh, you're a victim mentality. There's no victim mentality, dude. What I experienced in life, whether it's positive or negative, that is the history that I've experienced. I'm not no damn victim, but this is what happened. This is what's happening. Y'all need to come on off this crazy talking points that's prohibiting us to advance. It's not, you have to understand stuff that's going on to get stronger and move on with your life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are current events that happened. You cannot downplay them, because when you downplay them, you're going to keep yourself down. I'm not no damn victim. I'm doing very well. I'm way above average in America.
Okay, I got you. Hold on. The Native American expat, blaming the old generation for your own financial shortcomings is the most pathetic thing a man could do. Yeah, I agree with that to a certain degree. As a man, you're supposed to kind of just, get out there and figure it out on your own. But at the same time, there would be no Donald Trump without Daddy Trump. You know what I'm saying? There would be no Elon Musk without Daddy Elon Musk, basically. They put their sons in a position by passing wealth down to the generation. All right. So, I agree with it, but I don't believe any child should have to start from zero.
Absolutely.
Where they get some land, housing, stocks, something. I think that's a bad habit we have as a community of black people, where we just be like, get out the house at 18
the mud
and figure it out your damn self. I think that's very selfish of us as a community. Because I remember going to school with these white cats that already had a house and a Mustang at 17. I was just like, well, damn. I'm like, damn, you got all that. So it's okay to pass down assets to your kids, bro. It's totally okay. As a matter of fact, that should be one of the number one goals of a father is to pass down something, bro. It could be
absolutely
$10,000 or $50,000. Master P got his start from inheriting money from his grandfather's death, bro. There would be no low limit soldiers if it wasn't
that
for the seed
$10,000
from that $10,000. So it's okay that we pass something down to the generation, bro. We gotta get out of that habit. But I agree with you to a certain degree, not in married, man. I'm not saying I disagree. All right. The man, you talking about the brother that they put up front to threaten? Okay, you talking about something else, Matt? World, is that my man James? Shout out to my man James. Wrong. He is incoherent of operations. He doesn't have power to launch an operation. That's the president. I don't want to get into the details. I just read an article about it.
BMT, let me also say this, right?
Hold on, bro. You gotta let me. I'm glad you're on the panel, bro, but you gotta let me finish my sentences. If you want to come on, James, you're welcome to come on, brother. Like I said, I know you ex-military. You can go into more details than I can. But I just read the article about him, and he's a high-ranking Air Force, general, 5-star, I think something like that. So technically, when you list the most powerful men in the country, you will list certain generals within the U.S. military, and he was one of them. All right, this is coming from an article. I wish I could put an article up. All right, but this is outside of the U.S. president. They're just naming within the U.S. infrastructure or government who are these individuals that are actually, coming up with, battle plans and different strategies to keep America dominant, basically, is what I'm saying. All right. All right, JNewt1222 says, generational wealth is bigger than that. What you think? Too far behind, only a certain amount of families will catch up, even with the knowledge. I mean, you got opportunities in every generation, bro. This is the thing. The young generation, to me, has way more opportunities to make income. A lot of them don't even have to work any longer because you got content creation, you got investing. Like, we didn't have Robinhood, we didn't have Bitcoin. We had the internet, but we had, we didn't have all these streamings, and we didn't have all that, bro. Back in my day, either you went to school, sold dope, joined the military, or played ball or something. Those were your opportunities, okay? All right, because they wouldn't really allow us to, have businesses in our communities like that. So much a baby mom mentality. All right. But observing Melanie, I appreciate you coming on, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. We've been at it for almost 2 hours now. Well, an hour and a half, rather. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna start going live more. I'm gonna start going live earlier. All right. And I appreciate everybody joining me on the stream. I appreciate all the super chats, man. I'm gonna get them bots out of here next time. I thought I was on subscriber mode, but apparently I'm not on sub mode. So, all right, peace. We out.